Following our first lead and we get ourselves caught in a laser net. All in a day's work, right?
Smart Alex had a point, but I wasn't going to let him have the satisfaction of knowing so. There was one good thing about spending hours stuck in a laser net. You got time to think. Who is this guy? Who killed him? And what kind of surveillance was he doing right across from my apartment? And what's in the metal canister? Have 7 years really passed without me remembering it? Is it related to my head injury or the injection mark on my arm?
He dead?
Well, I think you missed a hell of a party.
Party?
Yeah, you're here in time for the laser show.
I wouldn't do that. I was here to meet Carlos Maldonado. Is that you? Or him?
Look, I just stumbled onto this little nightmare, and I need to find out who this guy was and what he was doing. I'm a PI, and I assume this guy is Maldonado. My name's Murphy. Who are you?
Mason said Maldonado was a PI. Were you working with Mason too?
I'll be honest. I don't know if I was working for Mason or not. Actually, I'm having severe memory problems here, so anything you can tell me about Maldonado or Mason or what's in the cryo chamber here would be greatly appreciated.
I think I set off an alarm when I came in here. I don't usually do this kind of thing. I was just trying to help Mason. He said, come in here, find the PI, get the cryo chamber, and keep it safe.
Hey, I found that first.
Slow learner. You have to find Mason. I think he's in big trouble with bad people. I don't know why. He's a neurologist, for God's sake. But you have to promise me that if I let you go, you won't come after me, you'll find Mason.
Oh, I promise. My fingers are so frozen I can't cross them.
If your memory problems are part of all this, Mason is the only one who can help you. So you need to find him and bring him back safe just as much as I do. I'll be in contact soon.
Man, those cops are getting close, but I don't want to leave this place without a clue. I better hurry up and find something before they get here. This SOB's been living up here, watching my every move. Well, that might come in handy.
Strictly speaking, I would never encourage anyone to break the law, but those sirens are getting awfully close, and a life sentence for a machine can last a very long time. So move!
Not even one crate of mixers. This guy was hardcore. Yeah, tough break, hombre. As I try to make my great escape down the ladder, I find two officials waiting to greet me.
Hello, boys.
Well, if it isn't Tex Murphy, what were you doing in there?
Well, it's a little hard to
Oh, you know the drill.
I was really trying to get my hands on that surveillance equipment. Maybe I could see exactly what happened to me. Now the only way I'll find it is if New San Francisco's finest decides to play ball with me. I don't know why they'd start now, but I'd better polish up on the old Murphy charm.
Whether you're a mutant or a normal, San Francisco is our home. Be a part of the solution to crime. If you see something suspicious, please report it to the SFPD immediately.
Make it quick, Murphy. I got about 1,000,000 things to do. And wasting time on you ain't one of them.
Didn't take you long to get in trouble, did it? You here to turn yourself in?
Danwich? I hardly recognized you. What, been 10 years? You were still a patrolman back then.
I'm surprised you remember me.
Danwich? Are you kidding me? Rhymes with manwich? And manwiches are unbelievably delicious.
In case you didn't get the memo, I head up the department now. And things aren't as loosey-goosey as they were under Malden.
Yeah, I gotta admit, Malden did like his goosies a little loosey. So why is it you think I came down here to turn myself in?
Well, we just found you at a crime scene with a dead body. That dead body happens to be Carlos Maldonado, a PI working in the same neighborhood as you. Is that your way of intimidating the competition?
The name Maldonado means nothing to me. And I insist that you give me a polygraph test to prove it.
I was just reviewing your file when you came in.
Is that a lot? Because it looks like a lot.
August 2047, Beek Nariz, NSFPD informant. Beaten and hospitalized after providing information about Tex Murphy. Nariz refuses to identify his assailant. No charges ever filed. November 2048. Surveillance video shows suspected extortionist Jen Lee leaving the Golden Pagoda with Tex Murphy, never to be seen again. The case remains unsolved. Shall I go on? In the past few years, you've gained quite a reputation for yourself. You've got New San Francisco's criminal underbelly running scared.
You're a cop. Isn't that the way you like your criminal underbellies?
We arrest criminals so they could be tried in a court of law. We don't just kill them, and I won't tolerate vigilantism. If you didn't kill Maldonado, what were you doing there?
Well, I'm drawn to laser nets like a moth to the flame. I followed the trail and saw that Maldonado had surveillance equipment aimed at my office. I want to find out what he recorded.
Who cares what he recorded? If you're such an upstanding citizen, you've got nothing to hide, right?
Look, I got jumped last night. I've got no idea who did it. I think there might be something on the surveillance tape, and if you can tell me what happened, I think I can help you on this case. Deal?
I rarely make deals, and I don't need to make one with our only person of interest. Any more questions? I'm not sure what to think of you, Murphy. I have no evidence of an abduction, just a dead body and only one person of interest. It might be in your best interest if you could find out what happened. That whole neighborhood seems to attract more than its fair share of trouble. As far as the coroner and the commissioner were concerned, finding Chelsea's remains in your speeder were enough to pronounce her legally dead. She's an investigative reporter at the Bay City Mirror, one of the less obnoxious ones. I know Maldonado was a dirtbag, but unless it's in self-defense, killing somebody, even a dirtbag, is a crime and will be prosecuted.
That encrypted memory stick probably has some useful information on it.
Oh, great advice. If you could help me break it, then I'd be impressed. Guess I'll have to see if anyone else on the street can break it for me. Rook's the little gremlin who runs the pawn shop. I've heard that his hard shell is hiding a heart of gold, but if it was, he'd cut it out himself with a rusty soup can lid.
Murphy! Here, let me look at you. Louis told me something terrible has happened. I've been worried sick.
If you try and hug me, I swear, I'll scream like a little girl.
Oh, Lord. Please don't tell me that lump on your head has turned you back into the pathetic, pestering P.I. I used to know. This is a nightmare.
Now that's the Rook I know. For a minute, I thought you'd started carrying a song in your heart.
It's temporary, though, right? A side effect? Please tell me you'll be changing back.
Come on, I wasn't that bad. Was I?
Look, Murphy, I'll grant you have some detective skills, but it was all relentless, annoying banter and endless questions to me. Imagine my surprise when, over the past few years, you turned into someone I could actually tolerate.
No kidding. So what was it you loved most about the new me?
You cut out all the chit-chat and became a no-nonsense customer who pays in cash. You always seem to have plenty of cash.
Oh, I get it. All of a sudden, I get some dough, and suddenly we're best friends. So how'd it come up with so much cash?
Well, how should I know? I mean, if I'd asked you that 2 days ago, you would have punched me in the face.
Well, I'd be more than happy to do it now, if it'd help.
Oh, very funny. I'll admit, Murphy, you do have a certain charm. It makes my skin crawl.
Well, if your skin crawls anymore, you're not going to have a face. So why don't you tell me what me and my charm have been buying around here, and then I'll get out of here.
All my transactions are done in strictest confidence. That hasn't changed.
You know, sounds like to me, if I get my memory back, you don't want to be on my bad side.
Fine. Though I don't know anything that could possibly explain what's happened to you. Believe me, I'd tell you if I did. Now I suppose this is where you ask if I mind answering a few questions, but this is not for old time's sake. You became a sullen, short-tempered bully, and I miss that desperately. I heard a commotion and saw a crazed man running willy-nilly down the street and 2 other men in pursuit. I was hoping they would tear that flop house down, and they would have too if it weren't for that meddling Clint. Such an upbeat, chipper little man, utterly obnoxious. I went there once, never again. What with that herbal tea and incense, it's a veritable gas chamber. Oof. I knew she'd get nothing but trouble being with you. Louis' niece is an absolute delight. What she sees in you is an absolute mystery. A prince among men makes me wish I could still eat solid food. Years ago, after Chelsea disappeared, you came to me looking for leads to some valuable items, among them a lost Fabergé egg. You left the street for a long time. When you returned to Chandler Avenue, you seemed like a different person, darker, more dangerous. I understand you have a thing for holograms. Maybe she's just your type. I'm sure you know much more about that than I. Some say you know exactly what happened. That's the man you think was abducted? The one I saw being chased down the street? I never heard his name before you told me. What is that? Maldonado? Ah, he puts the PI in pig. I heard you two had something of a rivalry going on. Next question.
Now that Rooks is open, I'll bet his back gate's open too. Ah, yes. Llama Claus would bring packs of cigarettes to all the good children around the world. Yeah, I used to come back here and shoot hoops until I threw my back out.
Ten seconds left. Down by one. Murphy has the ball. He fakes. He drives. It's a 360. He's fouled.
Or was it my front? Lord knows what I could do with an anvil, but it might be useful. It's Rook's Hydropod Garden. Whenever I see this, I think of Gordon Fitzpatrick from my Pandora case.
We've got to get this ship as far as possible from the planet Earth in that little time.
You know how to fly?
I know.
How do you know it even works?
I know how to fly. My father, a long time ago. Listen to me now, follow me, this is important. My mother's an American woman in Nebraska, but my father's DNA is in me. I know how to fly this ship.
He wasn't from around here, or even from this solar system. Inspector Burns finally opened his own barbecue joint. I bet it tastes just like arson in your mouth. Rumor is Zach Williams, owner of the electronics shop, is tied to organized crime. Well, we've had our problems in the past. For example, the last time I was here, he shot my credit card into 1,000,000 pieces. I'm hoping he's in a little better humor today and doesn't blow my brains out, or even worse.
Okay, I don't want any trouble.
Well, just so I'm clear, what kind of trouble are you not wanting?
Everyone knows what happens to people who get on your bad side. Only one reason you ever come in here, and it ain't to buy anything. You know all our stuff is junk.
I just want to know what's going on upstairs.
Look, the guys upstairs don't want any trouble either. They said you can have whatever you want at cost. You can even put it on credit. Then I'll just tear up the bill.
Oh, no, I am not falling for that one again. I'm just here to find out about that dead guy upstairs and what he was up to.
Look, I know how much you hated Maldonado, and I probably shouldn't have let him use the second floor. But he was paying cash, and he kept a low profile. So I thought it was all good. I didn't know what he was doing up there, and I didn't want to know.
So how about you answer a few questions for me, and maybe things will end up a little better for you than they did for, say, Carlos?
You the man, okay? We good? Look, I told the cops I wasn't here, which is technically true. I just parked out back when I heard the gunshots, so I just started the engine right back up and got the hell out. You live there, so I'm not gonna say a thing about it. That place opened up a couple of months ago. Doesn't look like my kind of joint. I do love Louie's cooking. Just don't ask what's in it and you'll be fine. All I know is you ain't the same guy that came slinking in here 7 years ago. Sorry to hear about that. Is that what turned you into Mr. Badass? I think he's the one who came by to check in on Maldonado. Must have been a client. Don't know anything else about him. I sell items to customers, not purchase them. Sure, Maldonado was a creep, but his money spent just the same. He said he needed to do a stakeout of the Ritz. Didn't mention any specific names. Didn't sound like a big deal, and he was offering a good chunk of change. Let's just leave me out of this, okay?
Heck, Malden. That buffoon always got credit for cases I solved. Some pretty intense staring contests have been held right here. It's best not to sit on these couches, but if you do, you better be wearing a hazmat suit. The ultimate game of battleship. Fat chance of that happening. Do you know what kind of creeps live in this place? Time to get a new clock. The Presidio. I mean, the Palace of Fine Arts. No, wait, is it the Museum of Science? San Francisco just has too many landmarks. Problem with vid phones is you can't call anyone from the bathroom anymore. Well, you shouldn't. Sapphire, eh? That sounds like a fun new neighbor. Well, this is a flashy new neighbor. Needs a key. Needs a key. Uh-oh. That doesn't look good. Oh, I had this door permanently sealed as it opened directly into my bedroom. People thought that was awfully presumptuous of me. If a bell is on the front desk, I could ring it and talk to the clerk. As I ring the bell, I expect Nilo, but another familiar face pops up from behind the counter. It's Clint. Looks like he's dabbled in some home plastic surgery to cover his empty eye socket. It's amazing what you can do with a tire patch, spray paint, and crazy glue.
Ah, Mr. Murphy, will you be needing some housekeeping done? I can't remember the last time we saw you around here.
Yeah, me neither. Don't know if you heard, but I had a little blackout.
I used to get brownouts. Louis' chocolate pie damn near put me in a coma every time.
So, where is Nilo? You haven't had to resort to working with that scumbag, have you?
Nilo? Man, I haven't heard that name in years. Not since I bought this place from him. The city was gonna condemn it, but Nilo didn't feel like fixing it up, so he sold it real cheap.
So, no more Coco Cabana?
No, after a massive bender that ended with me in cuffs outside of the Hershey's factory, I knew I had to change my life. And Preacher Gary, may he rest in peace, he set me straight. Now I just have a little tiny problem with the scotch.
So, Crazy Gary's gone to the big distillery in the sky, huh? Well, you're the perfect guy to carry on his legacy.
Oh, thanks. I think.
Well, you've come a long way, Clint. From living in a dumpster to owning your own dump.
But on the bright side, we've exterminated most of the roaches and reinforced the foundation after the big quake last year. And finally got real fire extinguishers, so no more painted-on safety features. We're up to a 3-star cubic zirconia rating in the Mutant Leisure blog spot now.
Well, with such deluxe accommodations, I'm surprised I'd stay anywhere else. Do you know where I stay when I'm not here?
Nope. You pay me well to keep an extra eye on your apartment and my nose out of your business.
So, you say I haven't stayed here in a while? I must have a place somewhere else.
You kind of dropped out of circulation back in '44. No one around here knows what happened to you. Now you don't either, I guess. You're paid through the end of the year, just like every year. You hardly ever hear these days, but hey, let me get my nose out of your business. That sounded disgusting. Let's change the subject. What can I do for you? You keep being my best tenant, and I'll be your biggest fan. Deal? The cops came by to ask me about that, but I wasn't here at the time. This may not be much, but it's mine, and I love it. Just get the holes patched before you move out, or I will keep your security deposit. Nice guy, but he's got some screws loose. Dumbest name ever for a shop. Look, I know I used to joke with you about Chelsea being in love with me, but that was just my jealousy talking. We don't need to talk about that, do we? That was a real tragedy. That's Louie's niece, right? Tall, brunette. Oh. I've got to steer clear of his diner. Too many chocolate memories. Look, I've had my own problems, as you know. I was in a kind of a dark place 7 years ago. Dark, bitter, sometimes nuts, raisins, but God help me, marshmallows. Nice girl for circuits and chips. I can't help you with that. I can barely work a toaster. Maldonado? Nothing but trouble. I steer clear of that hombre. That little gremlin's never forgiven me for stealing his newspapers and using them for blankets. That guy's all mobbed up, so I keep my distance. Me? I'm just living the dream. One chocolate-free day at a time.
It's real good having you stop in more regular. How can I help you? That Holly is a real spitfire. I don't know how I feel about the whole holograms of people too thing, but yeah, why not? I can't really talk about that. If she died the way the cops said she did, burned inside your speeder, it's just too much to think about. I keep a little hope that maybe she ain't dead at all. Or at least that maybe she died in a more peaceful way. I'm no good with that computer stuff, but that little fella at the barbecue joint is a whiz. I'll bet he could get you taken care of. You wouldn't remember him. He moved into the neighborhood a few years back. Not a pleasant man. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, same old ornery cuss he ever was. Don't bother me none. I guess I'm just used to it. Zach don't come in here a whole lot. I guess he don't like my food much. That Clint's really come up in the world. Though I still hide the chocolate cake when he drops by. I don't want him falling back into his, old ways. Haven't had another food joint on the street since Francesca ran the Slice of Heaven. I thought it might cut into my business some, but not so far. Maybe we just don't have a lot of barbecue eaters around here.